The explosive confrontation lights up, spotlight on Eli Monroe, standing on a wooden dock with a thick envelope in one hand and fury in his eyes. He speaks directly to the audience, voice steady but burning. Eli, fool. And scene cuts to flashback, a well-manicured suburban cul-de-sac, shimmering lake in the background. Muffled shouting is heard growing louder. Marjorie, 60s, short silver hair, manicured within an inch of its life, is marching toward Eli's dock. "Mar, you buildies and HOA." She said it like she was quoting the Bible, HOA edition. Crowd starts to gather, phones out, some neighbors. Look concerned, others smug. And I could feel every eye on me, and honestly, I didn't blame them. To them, I was just the guy with the scruffy beard and the fishing pole who never came to the block parties or folded his trash bags the Joe way. I wasn't one of them. I was the outsider. The man in the old cabin. Back to confrontation. Marjorie dramatically waves a pink slip of paper. "Marjorie, you've been cited. Unauthorized construction on shared community land. A $4,200 fine due within 10 days, or legal proceedings. Begin." "He shared community land? That dock's on my property, Marjorie." "Marge, wrong. The HOA map says otherwise. I suggest you check your deed if you even ha one." The crowd murmurs. Someone gasps. Another neighbor whispers, "He's gonna lose his house." Alien, and that's when something clicked. That smirk. That smug little smirk of a woman who thinks she's untouchable. That was the moment I decided this wasn't just a fight over a dock. This was personal. He takes out the envelope, still sealed. "Eli, P, I have, back to dock." Eli doesn't open the envelope, yet. He puts it in his jacket pocket and turns to Marjorie. "Eli, you want me gone, Marjorie? Fine. But I hope you brought your lawyer, your land surveyor, and your want, because what you just started, you're not ready for it." Marjorie, mocking. "Oh, please. You think you're gonna scare me with a tantrum and a fishing hat? This isn't Deliverance, honey, this is Lakeside Ridge, and I make the rules here." Or she didn't get it. She still thought I was just some guy with an attitude and a boat. But that's the thing about people like Marjorie. They confuse silence with weakness. They mistake peace for permission. He turns to audience, eyes sharp. Or Shoreline. Quick cut montage. A black and white photo of Eli's grandfather surveying land in the 1950s. A deed stamped with a county seal. A map outlining the lake with red ink circling its perimeter. One name in bold, Monroe. Or, I didn't know all of that yet. But I knew enough. I knew Marjorie was bluffing. And bluffers panic when you raise the stakes. Back to dock. Eli steps forward, nose to nose with Marjorie. Or, they. He walks away. Crowd parts. Phones still recording. Cam, a rugged man in his 30s with oil-stained hands and a loyal face, steps beside him. Cam, which, she's or Tor, I thought that was the end of it. I'd make a call, get a copy of the deed, wave it in her face, and be done. But nothing's ever that simple when power's involved, especially when someone's entire identity is tied to controlling a neighborhood. Cut to Marjorie back. At her home office, printing out legal papers and sipping wine. And Mar. "You'll learn, Mr. Monroe. Everyone does eventually." She opens a group chat called HOA Command. Messages appear. Get rid of him. Hit him with every violation. Make him crack. And she wasn't just playing HOA president. She was running a full-blown operation, a suburban regime. And me? I just became her #1 enemy. Cut to Eli at his cabin, lights dim. He finally opens the envelope. Inside, a handwritten letter from Grandpa, a map, and a certified property deed with the county seal. Grandpa, voiceover. "If you're reading this, it means they came for what's ours. You don't owe them fear, Eli. You owe them truth. This land is yours. Every shoreline, every dock post, every blade of grass from the boathouse to the bend. Don't let them take it." Eli, P. I stared at that paper for a long time, felt like holding a sword. Not because of the power, but because I finally had a way to fight back. He looks up, eyes fierce. And lights down, sound of lake water lapping gently. Then the sudden clack of a gavel echoes. Blackout. Lights up. Eli Monroe stands in the cabin surrounded by old boxes, dust-covered ledgers, and yellowed maps. He holds the deed in one hand, the letter from his grandfather in the other. A kettle whistles in the background, ignored. Eli narrating. They say your past always catches up with you, but sometimes you gotta dig it up first. Right out of the floorboards. My grandfather, James Monroe, wasn't just a landowner. He was a land bee, and what he left me wasn't just property, it was armor. Armor I didn't know I'd need. Until now. Flashback to 1965. A young James Monroe argues with a man in a county clerk's office. Papers are slammed. Voices raised. A surveyor's map is rolled out like a battlefield plan. Young James. No one touches that shoreline. It was granted fair and square in the Land Trade Act of '52. And I got the signatures, the coordinates, and the tax filings to prove it. The clerk, nervous, stamps the map reluctantly. A seal burns into the paper. Monroe Estate. Full shoreline rights. Eli, voiceover. See, Granddad was smart. He knew people were greedy. He also knew Lakeside. Ridge would grow. What he didn't know was that decades later, a homeowners association run by a retired interior designer would try to erase history for the sake of a fake pond fountain and property value. Back and present. Eli opens a metal box labeled Survey, Boundaries. Inside, aerial photos, legal letters, a faded receipt from the county clerk. Eli. The evidence was all here. He kept it like a war chest, and me? I never paid it much mind growing up. This cabin was just a summer escape. Fishing, fireflies, pancakes for dinner. I didn't know it had become a battleground one day. He sits at the desk, looking at a family photo. Young Eli, Grandpa James, and Eli's sister Lauren around age 12. Eli. Lauren used to say the lake healed people. Maybe that's why we came back here when Mom got sick, to feel whole again. Beat. Long pause. He runs his hand over the photo. Eli, narrating. But nothing stays simple forever. After Mom passed, Lauren and I drifted. She moved to the city, joined some startup, started wearing heels higher than her IQ back then. I stayed out west, got married, got divorced, life. Flashback to 5 years ago. Eli arguing with a woman at a courthouse. She tosses a ring at him. Ex-wife. You don't fight for anything or... Back to present. Eli, present. She was right. Back then I didn't fight. But this dock, this land, this was different. This wasn't just mine. It was ours. Legacy ain't something you roll over and give up. Cut to Eli driving into town. He parks at the Lakeside County Records office. Small town charm, bigger town tension, or Biebery her in facts. Inside, he meets Diane, 50s, the county records clerk and high school friend of Eli's mom. So, Orelli, they sit at a back. Terminal. Diane types, pulls up old digital files and microfiche. Diane. Yep, here it is. 1952 Shoreline Grant, 1965 Reaffirmation Filing. Oh. And this one, 1979 Challenge filed by Lakeside Township. Denied. Looks like they've been trying to strip Shoreline rights since forever. Or, let me guess, Marjorie was on the township board? Diane. Bingo, before she crowned herself HOA queen. Montage of Diane printing copies highlighting key sections. Aerial map overlays. Everything proving Eli's legal rights. And it cut to a lakeside coffee shop. Eli meets Cam, his childhood friend. Cam wears mechanic overalls, sipping from a chipped mug. Cam. So what now? You serve her papers or launch a torpedo? Or, I'm thinking both. But first, I need backup. Cam grinning. You know who you need to call. Eli, groaning. No, don't even say it. That. Lauren. Beat. Eli exhales hard. Looks out at the lake. Eli, narrating. My sister and I hadn't spoken in over a year. Last time we did, she called me a coward and said I was wasting my life in the woods, but Lauren, She's not just smart, she's dangerous smart. She could outwit a judge, charm a snake, and gut a contract with a highlighter and a glare. Cut to Lauren in a glassy skyscraper office, holding a Bluetooth call with 3 assistants orbiting her. She wears a blazer-like armor. Lauren, on E. Phone. You're telling me the HOA is illegally fining you for building on land you. Or, not just that, they're trying to claim the whole shoreline belongs to the neighborhood. Lauren. Pause. Eli. D-beat. Eli. Yeah, I did. Lauren. I'll be there Friday. Back to narration. Eli walks the shoreline holding his grandfather's map. Eli, fool. I used to think family was about blood and birthdays. Now I know. It's about who shows up when your whole world's on fire. And my sister? She was bringing gasoline and a fireproof suit. Cut to HOA headquarters, Marjorie's house. Her kitchen is a command center. She's surrounded by 3 HOA cronies, Herb, Connie, and Suzanne. They review printouts, maps, and complaint forms. Herb. He's digging, Marjorie. We saw him at the records office. With Ann and Marjo. He thinks one piece of paper makes him a land baron. He's playing checkers, I'm playing chess. Cher. You're not actually going to use that, are you? Marjorie. Oh, I am. If he thinks he can beat me with a dusty deed, wait till he sees what power really looks like. Eli. Fool. She'd been planning this for years, buying influence, bending rules, using HOA dues to grease the right palms. But she missed one thing. She never accounted for someone who wouldn't bend. Back to the cabin. Night falls. Lauren arrives. The siblings embrace awkwardly. Cam watches from the porch, sipping beer. Yours. Still smell like lake and coffee. Nice. Eli. Lauren, smiling. Let's ruin her life. They spread maps, documents, and blueprints across the dining table. Eli. Narrated, for the first time I didn't feel alone. We weren't just digging through history, we were sharpening swords. Because when people like Marjorie build their empires on sand, they forget what happens when the tide comes in. Lights dim as Eli holds up the old deed. Lauren nods. Outside, a shadow watches from the woods, someone spying. Eli, present. She, blackout. Dramatic musical swell. The conspiracy deepens. Scene opens in the dead of night. Lauren and Eli are inside the cabin, maps and documents scattered across the table like a general's war room. Outside, the moonlight glints off the lake, but something, or someone, moves in the shadows of the woods. Eli, fool. You ever feel that chill down your spine? That gut-deep whisper telling you something's not right? That's how it started. The deeper we dug, the darker things got. This wasn't just about a dock anymore. This was a hostile takeover, years in the making. Flashback, Eli and Lauren reviewing the documents Diane gave them. One folder labeled HOA Zoning Expansion, Phase 1-3. Laurel. These aren't just HOA meeting minutes. These are municipal grant applications, easement proposals, shoreline erosion permits, dated as far back as 2017, Eli. Lauren. A full redevelopment. Private beach, gated marina, commercial leasing rights. They're trying to flip the entire lakefront into a luxury zone. Laurel. Eli. T. Cut to Marjorie's house. The inner circle meets again. Marjorie, Herb, Connie, Suzanne, and now a T. newcomer. Kevin Baines, sleazy real estate developer. Kevy Andmar, they're relentless. Herb. Ormar. Then cut to. You're not on the docket, Mr. Monroe. Or int in he. They were erasing me. Not just my rights, but my exists in the system. I wasn't paranoid, I was under siege. Flashback to Lauren on the phone, furious. I just spoke to the county. Your property files were flagged for reassessment. That's code for red tape sabotage. She slams the phone. Laurel, Marjorie's got someone inside. Smash cut montage. Files going missing, emails bouncing back, utilities, accidentally, shut off. One scene shows Eli stepping outside to see surveyors placing red flags on his property line. Surveyor. Just following township orders. Shoreline jurisdictions being reevaluated. Eli. It was a land grab disguised as bureaucracy. Death by 1,000 signatures. Cut to Lauren meeting an anonymous informant, Raymond, ex-HOA treasurer, in the back of a bookstore. Raymond, not Marjorie's. Lauren. What are they? Sunshi. He hands her a USB drive. Raymo. It's all on here, but be careful, she finds out I talked. Ray Ely narrated. Lauren. This is Rico-level stuff. She's not just a bully, she's a mob boss in pearls. Eli. Then, it's time we hit back. Cut to Eli confronting Herb outside the HOA community center. People walk by with dogs, unaware of the tension brewing. Ellie. Hey Herb, I got a question for you. How much did you sell your soul for? Was it the marina cut, or did Marjorie promise you a boat slip and a trophy wife? Herb. Defensive. You don't know what you're talking about. Eli stepping closer. Don't I? 'Cause I got recordings, I got files, and I've got nothing to lose. Herb. Nervous. Look, I didn't know it'd go this far. We just wanted to boost the neighborhood value. Eli. Congratulations. Herb flees. Cut to Eli and Lauren printing copies of everything. Lauren dials her friend, a local journalist named Victoria. Lauren. Front page story. Leaked documents. HOA corruption. Land theft. We'll blow this whole thing wide open. Victoria on speaker. Girl, this is gold. But you better be ready, they're going to come after you. Eli narrating. We were ready, or so we thought. That night. Cabin lights flicker. A brick crashes through the window. Shattered glass everywhere, on the brick. A note. Leave. Drown. Police come. A tired Deputy Harris shakes his head. Stone. This neighborhood drama's getting out of hand. But unless you got security footage, I can't do much. Lauren. Waha. Still gotta go through the DA, that'll take weeks, sorry. Offali, narrating. They weren't just trying to scare us, they wanted us out, permanently. But breaking my window only cracked one thing, my patience. The next morning, Eli shows up at the HOA office during an open meeting. The room is full. Marjorie sits smugly at the head table. Eli walks to the front. Eli. Before you fine me for existing, I've got something to share. He plugs in a projector. Lauren joins him. The screen shows emails, voice memos, recordings, proof of Marjorie's scheme. Gasps echo across the room. Eli. This is what you've been part of. A criminal conspiracy to steal Shoreline property from rightful owners. Mar. This is slander. None of this is verified. Lauren. We verified it with county files, legal precedent, and oh yeah, your voice promising Kevin Baines an illegal deal. The recording plays. Marjorie's voice. Once we get Monroe out, the Shoreline flips, you'll get your permits and we get our payouts. Eli. For a moment it looked like we'd won, but that was just the spark. The explosion was still coming. Cut to Kevin Baines in his SUV on the phone. Kevin. The file's leaked. It's all falling apart. Pause. Kevin. No. Not yet. We still have the eminent domain card. He looks at a document. Emergency acquisition order. Pending county board vote. Eli. Turns out. When money's on the line, crooks don't quit. They escalate. See, I am doing it. Lauren. And when's the vote? Clerk. Tomorrow morning, 9 a.m. Eli and Lauren share a look. The stakes just got higher. Eli, Narti. The chapter ends with a wide shot of the cabin. The lake sits still. But under the surface, war is brewing. A silent storm. And it's about to hit full force. The breaking point Ellie, narrating. I didn't sleep that night. Not out of fear, no, that would have been too easy. I was on fire. Angry, exhausted, betrayed, but more than anything, desperate. Because by sunrise, they were going to steal everything my family ever worked for. Flashback montage. Eli's. Childhood on the lake. His dad teaching him to fish, his mother painting the dock, laughter echoing across the water. Smash cut to present. Bulldozers idling across the road, cones marking the path to Eli's shoreline. Lauren. I called Victoria. She's bringing a crew to cover the emergency vote, but that won't stop the vote. Eli. No, but it might expose it. She hands him a folder labeled Easement Exemptions, 1984 to present. Lauren. You were right. The property boundaries, they aren't just misfiled. They were never legally redrawn. The Monroe land predates the zoning ordinances. You're not just an owner, you're a sovereign shoreline holder. And cut to 8:12 a.m. County Building, rain still falling. Eli and Lauren push through a crowd gathered at the steps. Reporters, HOA members, protesters with signs, "Stop the seizure," and "No reporter" to camera. Tensions are high this morning as a controversial emergency vote threatens to seize long-held private land under the guise of public utility development. With Commissioner Dawson, this meeting will come to order. We are here to deliberate the emergency authorization of the Lakeside Shoreline Utility Project. Eli, interrupting. With all due respect, Commissioner, what you're really deliberating is whether you can steal my property in broad daylight and hide it behind a fake water treatment facility. Gasps ripple through the room. Apparently, Mr. Monroe, you are out of order. Lauren. She slams a thick binder on the table. Reporters flash photos. Eli. You've all been complicit, knowingly or not, in a private development deal that plans to erase half the lakefront community and replace it with elite access docks, boutique condos, and a private marina. And it starts with my dock. Kevin Bain stands up. Kevin, these are baseless accusations. You're nothing but a squatter with a rickety dock and an ego problem. Eli, hear Eli. My father built that dock with his bare hands. My family paid taxes on that land for 70 years. We hosted 4th of July's neighborhood potlucks, fishing tournaments. That shoreline? It's not just mine. It's ours. But to you people? It's a price tag. Crowd murmurs. Marjorie whispers something to Kevin, visibly nervous. Commissioner. Dawson flips through the binder Lauren provided. Dawson, slowly. If what's in here is true, we'll need to pause the vote for legal review. The room explodes with noise, reporters shouting questions, HOA members scrambling. Marjorie stands, slamming her purse on the table. Marjorie, you think this ends because you threw a tantrum in front of a camera? I've been running this community for 25 years. People like you, little dock folk, you don't win. Eli, quietly. That's where you're wrong. I already did. The second you had to scream to feel powerful, you lost. Cut to outside the courthouse. Eli and Lauren walk to the truck, flanked by a swarm of reporters. Reporter, Mr. Monroe, are you planning to sue? Eli, with a small smirk. Let's just say, the lake's not done making waves. Montage. The media storm grows. Victoria's expose airs that evening. Headlines read, HOA tyrant exposed in property power grab, and developer caught in bribery scheme. Cut to, Herb and Connie resigning publicly from the HOA. Suzanne tearfully apologizing to camera. Marjorie refusing interviews, shuttering her blinds. Eli narrating. It should have felt like victory, but it didn't. Not really. Not when I saw what it cost. Flashback. A neighbor's dock now abandoned, their house foreclosed. A retired couple selling their boat to pay legal fees. A kid crying as his fishing spot is blocked by new construction fencing. Cut to Eli sitting alone at the edge of his dock, legs dangling over the water. Lauren joins him, quiet. Lauren. You did. You stopped them, Eli. I slowed them, but they'll be back. Marjorie wasn't just greedy, she was the symptom. The disease is deeper. Pause. Eli, softly. I think I need to fight this on a bigger level. Permanent level. Lauren, eyebrows raised. Are you saying what I think you're saying? Eli. If we can expose them, we can reform them. Start by taking over the HOA board. Then county zoning. Hell, maybe even run for council. Lauren, grinning. Eli Monroe, from dock rat to public servant. Eli laughs softly. Somebody's got to watch the shoreline. Just then, a knock on the cabin door. Eli walks over and opens it, to find a local sheriff's deputy, somber, expression on his face. "Sheriff, Eli, I need you to come down to the station. There was an incident. It involves your doc." "What happened?" "Sheriff." Grim. For Eli's face goes pale. He races down the path with the sheriff, his dock smoldering, blackened boards twisted like bones. Fire crews tamping the last embers, a spray-painted message across what's left of the boathouse. "We warned you." Eli, narrating, "That justice." The chapter ends with a long shot. Eli standing barefoot on the scorched shoreline, sunrise breaking behind him. Lauren stands beside him holding his arm. No words, just resolve. And the sound of birds returning to a wounded lake. Scene opens, with dawn mist clinging to the blackened remains of Eli's dock. Yellow caution tape flutters. Charred wood smolders in silence. The lake reflects a broken dream. Eli, narrating. "They thought burning it would break me. That if they could erase the past, they could rewrite the future. But what they didn't understand was that you don't kill a legacy with fire, you forge it." Montage. Eli loading tools into his truck, talking with insurance adjusters, shaking hands with neighbors who show up to help clear rubble. Silent solidarity builds. News vans film every move. Lauren, to Eli. "The public's on your side now. The fire just made your story untouchable. You're a local hero." Eli, "I'm not looking for followers, Lauren. I want the truth. And I'm going to dig until it stinks so bad no one can pretend it doesn't exist." Smash cut to Eli and Lauren in a law office speaking to Martin Vasquez, a former HOA treasurer turned whistleblower. He fidgets nervously. Martin, "I kept my mouth shut because I was afraid. But after what they did to your doc, I couldn't keep covering for them." Eli, intense. "Tell me everything. Names, documents, motives." Martin, "You already know about the private marina deal, but what you don't know is that it's being funded by state redevelopment grants through a shell company, Baines Urban Renewal Inc. Guess who signed off on the paperwork?" He slides over a folder. Eli opens it slowly and freezes. Eli, "No way." Lauren, leaning in. "Wait, this is Commissioner Dawson's signature." Martin, nodding. "She's been working with Baines for years. The whole public utility thing? A front. She rezones, he builds. The HOA lobbies for land abandonment, and they split the profits." Eli stares in shock, a new understanding forming. Eli, quietly, "This was never just about my doc." Cut to Eli, addressing a new crowd. But this time it's not just neighbors. It's city reporters, lawyers, 2 state senators, and a local activist group. He stands at a podium with Lauren, holding the folder of evidence. Eli, to the crowd. "They burned my dock, but that's not the real fire. The real fire is in the halls of your city council, in the pockets of your HOA. This isn't just corruption, it's a conspiracy, and I won't stop until every name is known." He slams the documents on the podium. Gasps, flashes of cameras. Lauren, to the crowd. "Commissioner Dawson authorized the transfer of Shoreline titles to a company run by none other than Kevin Baines, using falsified maps and taxpayer money. This is racketeering dressed up as zoning law." Cut to Commissioner Dawson watching the broadcast on her office TV, slowly lowering her whiskey glass. Her aide rushes in. Aide, "Ma'am, the Attorney General's office just called. They're launching a probe." Dawson, coldly, "Get Baines on the phone now." Cut to Kevin Baines pacing in his high-rise office. He dials a number. Cut to Marjorie at a salon getting her hair colored. Kevin on phone. "They're turning everyone against us. We need to flip the narrative. Fast." Marjorie, unbothered. "Oh, sweetheart, you think I didn't prepare for this? You forget. I have insurance." She opens her purse and takes out a flash drive. A sinister smile spreads. Marjorie, "If Monroe wants a war, let's give him one." The next day, Lauren storms into Eli's cabin, phone shaking in her hand. Lauren, you need to see this. She turns on the TV. A news report plays. Anchorwoman. In a shocking twist, documents leaked online suggest that Eli Monroe's family may have forged the original deed that gave them control over the lakeshore. If true, it could upend his entire legal claim. Eli's face hardens. Eli, low. They're playing dirty now. He opens his laptop, sees online comments. Fraud. Fake hero. Another scammer exposed. Social media turns toxic. Former allies start to doubt him. HOA members begin calling emergency meetings. Eli, narrating. In less than 12 hours, they'd flipped the script, turned me from victim to villain. And that's when it hit me. This wasn't just a character assassination. This was the final play. If they could make people doubt me, they could bury everything else. Flashback montage. Eli's father filing the land deed. Scenes of old yellowed maps. Newspaper articles showing Shoreline ownership under Monroe Legacy Trust. Cut to Eli visiting his aunt, Margot, in a nursing home. Margot. They're saying your daddy lied? Oh, honey. No. That man fought the Army Corps of Engineers in court twice and won. Your great-granddad built this dock when it was still logging land. Eli. Do you still have the original charter? She pauses, nods slowly, reaches under her bed, pulls out a metal lockbox. Inside, a weathered, handwritten document with official seals. Margot. This isn't just a deed. This is a title, predating the zoning authority by decades. They can't fake this. Cut to Eli bringing the document to a forensic historian, then a state clerk. They confirm it's real. Time-stamped, legally sound, undeniable. The tides begin to shift again. Meanwhile, Marjorie panics when she hears Eli has confirmed ownership again. Marjorie, to Kevin. How? That document should have been burned with the rest of their cabin after the storm in '95. Kevin. Well, guess what? It survived, and now we're the ones drowning. Eli, addressing the panel. They tried to erase my family's name, tried to torch our legacy, poison our reputation, bankrupt us with legal games. And for what? A few million in Shoreline contracts? Let me tell you something. Money can't buy you what we built on that dock. He lifts the original Shoreline title. Eli. This is proof. But more than that, it's history. A reminder that sometimes the underdog doesn't just bite back. He digs his heels in the mud and drags the truth back to the surface. Applause erupts in the room. Outside, reporters clamor for quotes. The headline that night reads, Monroe vindicated. Forgery allegations debunked. Title confirmed. Eli, narrated by, they tried to drown me in doubt, but all they did was make me louder. Final scene. Eli walking the scorched shoreline. He kneels down and places his hand on the earth. Eli, softly. You're not just land, you're memory, your family, and I swear on this soil I will protect you from all of them. The camera pans up. In the distance, heavy equipment sits idle. The lake is still. For now. Eli, narrating. Because they don't know yet, but I'm just getting started.